Hey guys, I'm excited to bring you into the biggest studs in everybody knows Jeremy, one of the top coaches in real estate in the world, I would say. He was the Century 21 Rookie of the Year last year. So Austin, thanks for being on the show. Jeremy, welcome again and welcome back. Guys, I want to pick Austin's brain because this guy is a prodigy when it comes to door-to-door sales. He's crushed the industry in pest control. So Jeremy, tell me a little bit about Austin because I know you've coached him. I know you guys have been friends for a long time. Tell me some of the things you know about Austin. Then we're going to dive into Austin and pick his brain to how he's made this work.
Yeah, I don't know if I can give a proper introduction to Austin. How long have we known each other now? 5 years? 6 years?
The end of 2019,
yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, so we've got a mutual friend that connected us. I was doing door-to-door sales for an alarm company, and Austin was moving out to Georgia, Atlanta, and he connected us. We started working together, and I knew, honestly, the people that know Austin and that know me and that know when we connected know that I always said that you would kill it, always. And it was because you were teachable and you wanted to learn. And I knew in door-to-door sales, that was the number one characteristic that someone needed to have to kill it. Granted, it took you a little bit to get on your feet, but once you did, because you were teachable and because you were willing to learn and surround yourself with people that knew what they were doing, you eventually just blew it out of the water. So
Jeremy,
it's always been a huge pleasure. Yep.
Austin, tell us a little bit about that. He said it took you a minute to get started. Tell us about that. You didn't just come out of the gate swinging and just crush it?
No. We were going to do alarm sales in Atlanta with Jeremy, but then COVID happened and it went under. But I actually remember I knocked alarms for 2 days in was it Draper or something like that out there in Utah. And man, it was rough. Like I remember my pitch. They'd be like, "What are you selling?" I'd be like, "Alarms," and then it was an instant no. So initially I was going to do alarms, but then just due to COVID and the world changing, made a shift, and we ended up staying in Utah a little bit longer than expected. And I tried solar, where, man, I was really, really good at setting appointments, but I hadn't learned how to close at the time. And so I kind of speed up the story. I quit and I cried to my wife, and I said that I never wanted to knock doors again, until really what happened was I had this dream for our family that we would live this life where we'd always have plenty of what we needed and more to give to others. And what ended up happening was I just kind of gave up on it. I said, nope, door knocking is not for me. I knew that it was a way to get there, but I didn't have enough belief. I didn't have any belief in myself that I could do it. Just because of my experience with solar, I wasn't successful. I sold 3 accounts, and that's it. But with that being said, during COVID out here in Atlanta, Georgia, I was applying to Home Depot, Cracker Barrel. If it's a place like Costco, I applied everywhere, and I did not get a job at all. And it was one of my favorite quotes is rejection is God's redirection. He's guiding you to the place that you need to be.
Awesome.
And I really see that looking back, because I was kind of forced to get back into door-to-door. I always joke with Jeremy, if I were to work at Cracker Barrel, I would have been the happiest pancake flipper of all time, but I just would not have had the ability to provide like I have. And we've had some incredible experiences, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I ended up reaching out to Mitch Matthews because I knew him from BYU. I knew that he had done some bug company out here in Georgia, and I gave him a text message while we were out. So the reason why I reached out to him was because my family, they took us on this trip. My stepmom's parents took us on this trip to Colorado, where our whole family was out enjoying this incredible vacation. And I knew the reason that they were able to pay for us to all go there and get the whole family together was because they've worked their butts off and, taken risks. And I really thought to myself, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, if I keep trying to apply at Cracker Barrel and Home Depot and Costco, I will never get the opportunity to enjoy this life with my family. And everything that has motivated me has just been my family, period. And that is it, really. And so I knew that I needed to change. So I reached out to Mitch from BYU. I asked him, I said, hey man, I quit door-to-door before. I don't know if it's for me. And Mitch, I still have the text messages saved where he just goes, hey man, you're going to do great. Let's get you started next week. And then I showed up to Anthem, and then from there, I've continued to grow. But I have never been more grateful to have a job in my life than my first day at Anthem, when I found out I could make $100 by selling a bug account.
That's awesome.
So ever since then, I had my first summer, did great. My first full summer, I did 700 accounts. My second full summer, I did 1,060 some odd accounts. And this year is my second golden door that I'm working on, and it's been exciting. I've gotten to go to Mexico, Brazil. I have 2 cars that are paid off. Anthem bought me this car that I'm sitting in right now. Like, I have a house that I never thought I'd have. And funny enough, the only reason we were able to get into the house is because I sold one of those solar accounts, and it showed that I was self-employed for 2 years. So everything happens for a reason. It's funny, like, the only reason I'm in the home is because I sold a solar account in April of 2020, and that's why we got into the house in April of 2022. But don't know how that worked out. It shouldn't have, but it did. So
Golden Door. Golden Door is not given to just anybody. In fact, it's a very prestigious award that rarely do people get. I would say in the top 1% of each industry, a handful of those are handed out. And it's across the United States. So it's really cool to see that you've gone and conquered that. And for most people, just so you understand on pest control accounts, what would you say the average pest control rep sells in a year?
I would say anywhere between the average guy that comes out, they're just trying this thing out. I think they're doing 100, 150 accounts, maybe 200 accounts. That'd be great. Cool. For like a brand new kid that's just coming out.
Yeah, a guy that does 3 control accounts usually feels like he had a good summer. So listening to that's hitting, over 1,000 accounts. I mean, absolutely crushing. Jeremy, I'm gonna let you take back over. Sorry to interrupt there, but it's so cool to hear when people get on and start this journey, because it's hard. It's hard and not out swinging and hit it. And I love that you're humble enough to say, hey, I went and cried to my wife that I was not able to do this. The biggest dream of my life is to prepare us for the future. And it didn't work for us. And I love that fact that you didn't give up and came back around and now are where you're at, just murdering the world and taking all kinds of trophies and bringing in income and everything you wanted to accomplish. That's really awesome. Kudos to you.
Killing bugs. That's what the license plate says, bug killer. So gotta have fun with it.
That's right.
Jeremy,
hey, Austin,
interrupt you.
Yeah, you're good. Austin, real quick. One thing that I think a lot of people will want to know about your story is it was a rough start, and then all of a sudden you came out of the gate and started killing it. Like, talk to us about like what adjustments you made, or what did you change to go from only doing 3 accounts in solar, didn't do hardly any, I don't think you did any in alarms, and then you move out to Atlanta, you sign with a new company, and then you do 700 accounts, you make really good money, you go on all these vacations. Like, talk to us about like 3 or 4 things that you changed. What did you do that really made you take off?
Looking back on my journey in door to door, the very beginning, it was just pure gratitude that helped me be successful. Like, I was always grateful to have a job, and every single account that I ever sold, it was like, oh my gosh, like, what a cool opportunity I have to go decide my income. But a couple things I'll talk about goal setting first. I'll talk about having a deep why. Those are the 2 things that I'll talk on here. Is the first thing is just goal setting. So when I first set out doing this, I still remember the first week I hit 20 accounts. I set out to hit 20 accounts, and I just had to reverse engineer my week to figure out how to make that happen. And a week of 20 accounts is simply, it's about 3.5 accounts a day in order to hit 20 accounts. But I remember looking back on that, like, if I had a big day, I knew that I was on track to hit my goal if I had fallen behind. But I have all of my data from the last 4 years of door knocking written down in planners. I can tell you exactly what I sold on what day. And it's because I reverse engineer everything. I write down what I want to hit per day. And I personally believe that, like, I don't always hit my goals every day. This year it's been a little bit more frustrating because I haven't hit my goals every single day. But I know that it's something I'm always striving to do that. I have an intention every single day, and I'm writing it down so I can hold myself accountable. And so if like anybody
I think that's so stinking cool that you have 4 years of every day, because I think one of the biggest problems people have in our industry is they don't keep score. And if you don't keep score, you never win. I say that all the time. And you know what your scoreboard is every day for 4 years. That's insane. So anybody on the call, if you are not writing down your results and then measuring those up with where your vision is, what your goals are, you can see proof right here that you're setting yourself up not to be as successful as you possibly could be. So that's incredible that you did that. Keep going.
Yeah. It's the ultimate just truth. It's just this, it is like, you can look at your numbers and it is what it is. And you can look at the numbers and say, okay, what do I need to change in order to have a different result? And I've been having some really good moments where I just sit and reflect and I think, hey, what do I need to change in order to have a different result this month? Because this month I want to have my biggest month this summer. Well, what needs to change? Well, in my mind, I'll walk you through an exercise that I'm doing right now, that I did in the past too. An exercise right now that I'm doing is I need to have more urgency. I need to have a set time where I'm on the doors every single day before 11 o'clock. I haven't been as urgent this summer. So I know that where I'm lacking is the urgency, and I know that urgency is going to help me have the results that I want. And so conversations that I had with myself beforehand were, man, I'm losing a lot of time in the morning. Well, what I'm going to do as a result of that, and it's something that I've implemented, not 100% of the time, but it's something when I'm slacking up, I'm like, well, shoot, what systems have I stopped doing? Well, one of them is making all of my lunches for the whole week and then putting them in the freezer. That way I don't have to think anything in the morning. Or laying out all my clothes the week before. That way I don't have to think in the morning. So really making a system to all of these things, which will free up. So that's, goal setting and systems are going to be the two biggest things. And I learned a lot of systems from Jeremy that helped me be successful, because if there's anybody that's a master of systems, Jeremy is the one that taught me all of that.